Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aquarian Radio at aquarianradio.com. And I am your host, Janet Lesson, and today I have a very special panel with co-hosts Karen Christine Patrick and Reverend John Polk and psychic medium Chris Medina on the Experiencers Network, on the Aquarian Radio Network. What else I didn't tell you? Yeah, Experiencers Network. It's another episode of Experiencers, and I'm going to let, who wants to do the bio? John, do you want to, since you knew Chris, you do the bio? And
sure.
Tell us a little bit about Chris Medina and how you found him, and thank you for bringing him on the show today.
Okay, I'm going to read his bio
as
if I'm him. So, Chris Medina, psychic medium. I am a natural-born psychic medium with Native American ancestry. I provide expert metaphysical services for those in need of direction and or guidance in their life. I utilize my innate ability to connect with people on a true spiritual level to help guide them towards the path that they are truly seeking. In essence, helping others help themselves. I do not generalize when I read, and I do not allow information to be given to me beforehand. I absolutely insist on these strict guidelines. It allows me to connect better with a person's energy and true intention. I have a very no-nonsense approach with my readings and do not promote any type of false hope or ritualistic type practices. Pure and honest psychic readings is what I provide. It is my purpose and life mission to continue to help those in need of true spiritual guidance and those want to be heard. And that's a brief bio on Chris Medina.
Excellent. Karen, would you like to say anything before we bring on Chris?
Happy Thursday, everyone. Oh, wait a minute. It's Friday, April Fool's.
All right. Where's the job?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
Nope. I'm excited about the show. I read up on Chris, and it sounds like a really interesting person. I'm excited to be interviewing him, so that's cool.
Excellent. All right. So without any further ado, Chris Medina, welcome to our show. And what would you like to tell our listeners about yourself, who you are and your work and your walk in the world?
Well, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure being on your show. I do know Reverend John. I met him over at Alien Snowfest. Great guy. Just want to, again, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And now to talk about me, psychic medium Chris Medina, provides psychic medium readings. As Reverend was saying, I do not promote any type of false hope or any type of love and light type gimmicks. I'm direct to the point with my readings. I find that works better. I mean, honesty goes a long way these days. And when you're, I basically want to set myself apart from what people already view us psychics as, or metaphysical type people. Where a lot of people are promoting that love and light type of stuff, or false hope, or messing with people's minds. I just want the world to know that I am not about that. That I plan on changing the face of all that. And bringing back the true essence of psychic work, medium work, any type of spiritual enlightenment, things like that.
Excellent. John, would you like to start with the questioning for, what are we talking about? Chris. Would you like to ask him? Because you met him and you got with him, and I understand that, Chris, you were doing readings throughout the conference from what I got from John. Anyway, John, would you like to tell us a little bit more about what was it like meeting Chris? Who is Chris in your mind? What impression do you have of him, and what can you tell us about his work from your perspective?
Okay, well, how about a little bit of a backdrop? So I'm going to go over my first few talking points and then roll that up into a question for him. But I first met Chris and his friend Jay at the Alien Snowfest in Big Bear, California, which was February 5th, 6th, and 7th of this year, during a social mixer, actually after the conference. And Richard Dolan was still speaking at the time, but I met him then. And then I told him about the story about the Blue Pleiadians that I met at Experiencer Speak 4. That's when I first met him, and then the first thing that we talked about. And he asked me if I wanted a reading, and I wanted one, but I hate bugging psychics about it because I know everybody's asking them, can you give me a reading? Can you give me a reading? But he volunteered to do it, and it elated me. I was just so excited about it, and I don't want to tell anybody what he said, but just so you know, Chris, I'm sure you remember, you were absolutely correct with what you said. And then after the conference that particular night, and after the mixer, we all went. There was a number of us, including Jason Martell, a bunch of Fadernauts who are avid listeners of Fade to Black, Jimmy Church, Mike Barra, Mr. Johnson, who was on our show the other night, and some other people. And half the time that we were there hanging out in Jimmy Church's hotel room, Chris was gone. He was in the hallway giving people readings. And it was funny because you'd see people come back inside the hotel room after the reading, and they had this look on their face like their life had changed forever. So that goes to my first question. I've had a number of psychic readings done on me throughout my life, but Chris and only one other psychic medium, who by chance Karen heard the show that I was on, and his name was Chris also, and he was really good. But I've only had two psychic mediums ever mention ET in their readings, and they both happen to be named Chris. So why do you think that is so, Chris?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part. What did you say?
That you and only one other psychic that I've encountered in my life, and I've had tons of readings, you're the only two who ever even mentioned or acknowledged extraterrestrials. And I'm curious, are a lot of psychics, are they being blocked from seeing ET, or I don't know. How would you answer that question?
That's a difficult question. I get that question all the time. I don't understand the word blocked sometimes. Some people say, I get blocked. Knock on wood, that's never happened to me. I'm actually open to it. I was never one to delve into the whole ET thing until it actually happened to me. So, my experience, I think we spoke about that over during the mixer. My experience was gentle. I didn't have any issues with mine, no type of manipulation or anything like that. So it's difficult to comment on something like that when people are saying they're being blocked. I don't feel like I'm being blocked by anything. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. I know you're not, but I'm curious why so many psychics that I've gone to, they gave me very accurate readings, but they never mentioned extraterrestrials. And if they really, really dug into me, that's something I would think would surface. So I'm just kind of curious, and maybe using the word blocked is not correct. I don't know what the correct word is, but for whatever reason, I've probably been to over 10 in my life that I thought were legitimate and really good at it. But only you and one other person were the only two that even acknowledged extraterrestrials.
Yeah, there the ways that I do my readings, and I'm sure you noticed too, is that I look at people, I look at their eyes and see what's going on, and it gave me a glimpse of what's going on with you at the time that I was giving you the reading, and that was the first. I think that's one of the first things I mentioned to you was the ET thing or the experience. There's just something there that I see. I don't know if it's because I've had my own experience. I know a lot of times. People that conduct psychic readings or claim to be psychics don't really delve into that hole. They kind of keep that separate. But since I've had my own experience and I've experienced it, and I've been around people that were like-minded, maybe it came easier to me. I mean, I don't know.
Chris, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How did you discover that you're psychic, and what do you mean by that? In what way are you psychic?
I've been this way ever since I was a child, ever since I was a kid, as far back as I can remember. To me, psychic is being able to get impressions of people, things. I don't. As far back as I can remember, as being a kid, giving readings, which I thought was just something that would trip my dad out and his friends. I mean, he would. My dad knew all along that I was psychic, so he would test it, and he was kind of guiding me, not really mentoring me, but he would ask me certain questions to find out if I was hitting these things or where it was coming from. So he would have his friends come over, and I would give his friends readings, like at the age of 3 years old, picking up impressions of their lives. So when you
give a reading, what do you do? Are you telling them what they see? What you see is going to happen to them, or what's happened to them due to their current life, past lives?
What happens?
Do you do you smell it? What happens?
Yeah, I pick up impressions of them, just by hearing their voice, or if it's in person, looking at them, and I'll get impressions of how they live their life, what issues they're having. Things that they need to hear, like if it's a health-related issue or what the pressing question is. Like a lot of times if I'm doing events, somebody will come up to me and I'll right away pick up, a health issue or an issue with depression. Or it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It just is imprinted. It's placed in my mind's eye.
Could you do a reading with us here today? Like me and Karen and John, would you be able to do that even though we're not in person?
I think, I actually do a lot of phone readings. The majority now.
Okay, would you like to tune in to one of us and maybe give us an example so we can kind of see how it works? Yeah.
Did you want to do that now, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's experiment a little bit, and you can choose who you want to. During the course of this show, it'd be good to do all of us. But how about you? You pick who you want to tune into first, and what are your impressions?
Okay. Okay. Can I hear Janet's voice? Is Janet on the phone?
I'm Janet.
You're Janet? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, is there anything, first of all, before we begin, as John knows, is there anything that you would like me to stay away from, first of all? Because what I'm getting from you is issues regarding, and I don't know if I'm going to speak on it, regarding your health. So before we
you can talk about anything. Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 62.
62. Okay. I'm not, if it's completely wrong or you want me to stay away from it, just jump in at any time. But what's going on with your hands? Are you starting to get early signs of like arthritis? I'm getting the word arthritic with you.
Well, on the left hand, I had I was jacking up a bed and moving a bed, right? And I was lifting it, and the other person let it slip, and it landed on my thumb, like just caught the edge of it. And ever since then, I don't know if it's been pulled out of place or But usually where you get a wound, that's where you get arthritis can set in. But I've been,
How long ago was that?
doing things like about maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay. Is it starting to progress though? Because also I'm also getting issues with your forearm between your wrist and your elbow. Are you having issues with that as well?
That seems to be okay. No, that seems to be okay right now. But this left arm, the left hand, and thank God it's the left hand because I am right-handed. Oh, it just sometimes it aches like when it's raining. So that I was thinking arthritis, but I really haven't had it analyzed.
Yeah, you should probably check into that because it's gonna. What I'm getting is there's going to be issues coming soon. If it already hasn't happened already, issues between your wrist and your elbow. Like some kind of like a dull ache. I don't have arthritis, so I don't know. But from what people tell me, it can start off as like a dull aching type thing, and then just be radiating and permeating throughout your wherever you're suffering from it at.
Okay.
Okay, and
I'll
also
take that
too.
To heart.
Yeah. Do you? Is it also too? Is there issue? Do you have issues with your? Do you have sinuses or allergies?
I do. It's from my alien implant.
Okay.
I mean, I really. Yeah. Go ahead.
Don't tell me anymore because I want to get this. There's something wrong with like your sinus cavity or up your nose, There's issues with that. There seems to be to me there seems something stuck, but there isn't something stuck. Does that make sense?
Right. That's why I always joke, but I think it really is my alien implant. When I remember being taken when I was 4. And that started chronic sinusitis, which has affected my health. So the version that the extraterrestrials were using back in the 50s was not very kind to those who have had experiences. They may have improved versions, but my early implant definitely caused a lot of sinus problems over the course of my life.
Okay. And okay, I don't know if this is going to make sense to you at all, too, but I'm also getting memories of a horse for you.
Oh,
did you ever have a horse?
I never had a horse, but I am a horse in the zodiac.
Okay.
In the Chinese zodiac, I'm a Korean horse.
Okay. Are you? But did you have a horse as a child, or did you ride, or was there some kind of memory having to deal with a horse? I'm getting a whole bunch of memories from you right now after the whole health thing. So does that ring a bell to you?
I loved riding horses. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and so there were several parks. And whenever there was like a birthday or a treat day, people would say, "What would you like?" And I'd say, "I'd like to go horseback riding." So that was one of my favorite things when I was younger. Yes.
Okay. And are you currently married?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you want to delve into that right now while we're on the phone, or?
Sure. Let's go for it. If it's ever too much, I'll go, stop.
All right. Now, is your husband older than you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is he? Now, his issues are a little different. I don't know how far you want me to go into this, but does he suffer from mental issues?
No, he's a genius.
Okay.
He's brilliant.
When I say not, and I don't want to reach here, but when saying mental, I'm not saying going crazy, but there's some sort of his thinking is a little different than most people. It doesn't necessarily mean
I'd say very much so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay.
That's right on. He does not think like the rest of humanity, which I think is a good thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How's his weight?
His weight is perfect for his height.
For his height, okay. Does he? Is because there's.
It's okay.
Hold on.
Although he does fret. He does fret if he gains even a pound. He's very anal about his weight.
Okay, because there's is he thinking about his weight right now? Is he having issues? Does he feel like he needs to lose, or weight is an issue with him for some reason? So I don't know if he's.
Every day he worries about weight because he has a certain range that he wants to stay in, so he's always checking his weight. He exercises all the time to make sure he's within that weight.
Okay. I'm kind of. I'm going to put this out there, and I don't want you to worry about it. But I'm kind of. There's going to be some issues coming up with him too that he's going to be dealing with too. A couple of decisions he's going to need to be making. I don't know if he's already going through that, if that's already happened. But there's issues that he needs to take care of, or that need to be finalized. Is that what's going on right now? Does that ring a bell with you? He's going to have to come to some sort of.
Sure.
Huh?
Go ahead.
He's going to have to come to some sort of some sort of understanding, or he's going to have to deal with something really soon that he's been putting off for a while too. And this seems personal to me. It doesn't seem like it's work related, or it seems personal. There's some sort of decision he's going to have to make that's going to be coming up really soon in regards to what he's been putting off. And he seems like I don't know if this rings true to you, but that he's been hesitant about doing lately.
Well, that could apply to like 100 things in our lives because our lives are very complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure exactly what, it could be things that we've talked about, and it could be personal things that he's not expressed, but we're pretty much an open book with each other, so I don't know. But when it comes to decisions, he lets me make them most of the time because he doesn't like to make strong decisions. He likes to be in the now. Like going with the flow.
Yeah, well, there's going to be something that he's going to have to come to terms with in regards to that, about him. Again, so that makes sense, and him putting off things, or him not wanting to deal with certain things, or having you deal with them. But this is going to be personal to him that he's going to have to deal with himself.
Okay.
Does he run away from a lot of things?
When
I say run away, I don't mean like like if he's depressed, he tries to, or just like little things. He doesn't like things piling up, or he doesn't like to deal with the small details.
That's very true. That's why he doesn't sweat the small stuff. He gives it to Janet, and I sweat it. That's very true. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the official sweater. I'm the one that. Yeah, and that's how he's always been. He's Peter Pan. You have met Peter Pan, and I live with him.
Yeah.
And he's a delight. He's a wonderful person. Most people who meet him, they just love him.
Nice. Who else do we have there besides John and you?
Me,
Karen.
Let me hear your voice, Karen.
Well, hi, Chris. It's really great to talk to you. Do you have the best website where it says .guide? I thought that was cool.
Oh.
That was awesome.
We just got that up and running. How are you?
Yeah. How old am I? I'm 54. My birthday's this month. I'll be 55.
Your birthday this month in April?
Yeah.
Oh, what day?
The end of the month. I don't want to say what day.
That's fine. Just as long as I know that you're a Taurus, because my birthday's at the end of the month too, so I'm a Taurus.
I'm a Taurus. I know I'm also Chinese year of the ox, so I'm bullheaded twice.
Okay, well that's good. I am year of the dragon, so let's get into you. are you okay with me giving you a reading, or is there anything that you want me to say? Okay.
Well, I don't want to have too much of somebody else. I don't want like a family member or something. Just me. That way, I don't have to tell them, hey, somebody said you need to do this. You got it right with Janet. Boy, wow, that was amazing.
And by the way, Chris, my husband, Sasha, Alec, is a dragon as well. So you guys can relate.
Wow. Okay, let's, Karen, you're a little different. I'm going to read you a little different because the reason why I wanted to hear your voice and ask you certain things is because they're giving me the impression that we're a lot alike. So that wouldn't make sense as far as the Taurus. I don't base everything off of astrology, but I'm gonna talk about you venturing out of your comfort zone a little bit because there's things that how is your mental health as far as your state of mind, your state of being? Are you happy?
I am happier than I've been in a long time, but I have really struggled with that because of family situations.
Okay. When I say they, whenever you hear me say they, I'm referring to my guides, for lack of a better word. With you, it's going to be a little different. This reading, again, it's with you. I'm getting a lot of hesitation, a lot of worry, a lot of like, what if this happens, or what if that? But I don't think that you voice that out loud. I think you internalize it a lot more than you put it out there. So that kind of stop me if I'm wrong. It kind of drives you a little crazy. They're wanting me to tell you to let go a little bit because things are going to start looking up for you. Don't be doom and gloom. Don't doom yourself. Don't be worried about things being taken away from you or what if it falls apart type of thing. There's a lesson to be learned here with you as far as all the things that you've gone through and things that you're going to be the things that you're going to be seeing and doing in the near future. Are you thinking about moving?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. We had a delay on that because the future landlord had a death in the family, and it's quite an immediate.
Okay. Are you worried about this move, or are you actually looking forward to it?
I have mixed feelings about it.
You've been what?
I have mixed feelings.
Okay. Things. How can I put this? There's going to be a lot of shuffling going on with you within this whole year. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be required to become adjusted to, getting you out of your comfort zone, breaking up the routine a little bit, because I feel like in order for that to happen, things need to take place with you in order to get you to move that way, because once you're comfortable, you're comfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to let you know that, again, it's not all going to be crimson and clover. There are going to be the occasional headaches, but they're wanting me to tell you that it's okay. That don't worry about it. Don't stress out too much about it. Are you married?
I am separated.
Okay. I'd like to take this off the phone. If you wouldn't mind reaching out to me after the interview, and I feel more comfortable discussing certain things with you off of air, if you don't mind.
Not a problem.
Nothing bad at all. I just don't want to get too personal in the air and put things out there. It's not that I don't have anything. It's that for me, I don't know why they're telling, but I need to do this on a one-on-one with you.
Okay, great.
Is that okay? Is that something that you'd be open to?
Yeah, and I wanted to say when they were saying that we do things alike, I get things off of the person's voice, just like you're talking about. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah, I usually like to do my readings. Well, I love to do my readings in person. I get a better feel for that person there. But when I'm on the phone, it's a little different for me. I mean, again, hearing the person's voice and getting impressions off that is the only thing I can go by since I'm not looking at them.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I'm sitting here asking guys, can you guys talk or let me hear what's going on in your voice so we can get a better understanding of everything.
Okay, well, we'll hook up and we can go into that, and I really appreciate you doing that.
You are welcome. So, yeah, reach out to me after we're done, and we'll set something up.
All right, thanks.
Okay, did I wow anybody today? Or?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you got some really cool things. I appreciate that. What about John? What's going on with John?
What's going on with John? let's see. All right, John, is there anything you want me to stay away from? Because this is all going to be about careers.
Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to find out about. I mean, you read my mind.
Okay. I want to, is there anything you want to stay away from or anything you don't want to discuss with her? I'll kind of keep it, for lack of a better word, I'll keep it a little general when it comes to certain things. I don't want to put all your business out there. But for you, what they're telling me to tell you to do is to kind of take a step back and reassess a couple of things. I think what you're doing is you're getting tunnel vision on certain things and not being able to see, and that happens to us, and not being able to see the whole picture at one time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I can sometimes put on the blinders and focus perhaps too much on something and not allow any other light from the peripheral in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I got to warn you about a gentleman, and again, I'll just keep it general. Kind of really read between the lines when this person talks to you about upcoming things or opportunities or something. I kind of I don't know why, and I don't know if this has happened yet or if this is going to happen in the future, but they're warning me to tell you about somebody pulling your chain a little bit. So be careful with that. Make sure that it's not
really?
Just all talk like, oh hey, whenever they see you, oh yeah, let's hook up and do this or whatever. It seems that seems to be a lot of what's going on with you too. A lot of people are saying they're going to want to do things and they don't come through with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know what? A number of people have offered me some incredible opportunities, and it didn't translate. I really allow things to bother me when I'm lied to about my career, and it's happened quite a bit lately. It's happened too much to me.
Are you handling
lately?
Are you handling your own stuff, or do you have somebody doing that for you?
Well, I work with Karen. Karen is my editor publicist.
Okay.
So, I come up with my own material. She massages it and makes it more professional and marketable, if you will. So I need her help. And Janet, she gives me good advice as well also.
Okay. That's good, though, because at least they have your best interest in heart, and you guys are all working together as a team. But, I mean, Janet, Karen, I think please back me up on this. I think what you need to do is kind of take. I know that you want things to be your way, and you want to, you have a certain vision for how you want things done. And I know the two girls probably have don't really have. I'm not going to say issues with it, but want you to kind of think outside the box a little bit more, or to be. Does that make sense? Just a little bit more practical. Am I wrong, ladies?
Oh no, I have to be practical. God, how boring.
Yeah,
well,
that doesn't really compute.
Yeah, there's just I kind of feel like there needs to be a different, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I hate doing this, but I think there needs to be a different approach with things. I think that there needs to be take a look at a different angle of what's going on here and kind of see what you guys can do as far as accelerating your career a little bit more, John. So I feel like you feel like you're stagnant. Like, is this like I want to be doing more? I got so much more to offer. Who's going to open these doors for me? Where am I going to go?
Yeah, I think about that every day. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to exact a career change. I do entertainment, and in the Orlando area. Around Disney World, and I don't want to do it anymore. I want to get into. I want to be a lot of things I'm not. So
right,
and it's hard to convince me. Nobody can convince me that I cannot do it. But maybe I'm not doing it the right way. Obviously, I'm not, because it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, there needs to be a different approach, but you need to take it easy. And for some reason, I don't know why, but money's not an issue, right?
It could be.
Okay, are you getting ready to come into some sort of inheritance, or is there an inheritance in place for you soon?
Well, the day my father dies, I become rich. But I look at my life as if it will never happen. I think it's myopic for me to just sit around and wait for Dad to die. Plus, both his parents died.
No, I'm not.
But both his parents died in their 90s. Yeah, both of my grandparents died in their 90s. My dad's got a very strong will to live. So I know he's going to live at least another 10 to 20 years, probably. So I try and live life as if that will never happen.
Right, exactly. I'm not using that as an excuse to kind of do nothing and say, oh well, at least I keep hearing inheritance with you, so I don't. I just wanted to put that out there. You need some refocusing. You need somebody to get inside your head and kind of scramble things up a little bit and make it a little bit easier for you. You're just I get the impression you're spinning your wheels a lot too, and a lot of stuff you internalize too. And I don't know if the girls or I don't know if Karen and Janet are aware of how bad you're spinning your wheels, or the stress that it's causing you. But I feel like you need to take it easy. You need to there needs to be a okay, let's leave the drawing board for a little bit and then come back to it and see and just to get a clearer picture of it. There's things that need to be taken out or that are old that you don't need anymore as far as your career or what it is that you're thinking of the route that you're going in. It seems dated to me. Does that make sense?
I don't know. Kinda, maybe not.
Okay. But what I can let me see if I can. The concept or the direction you want to go in, it needs to be massaged a little bit. It's not. It doesn't. And I know you guys laughed at it. It doesn't seem to be practical. It goes from like step A to like D right away. There is no B and C. It seems like something's missing there.
I don't know, Chris.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we can talk about it later. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to spin your wheels or get you even more. To me it seems like there's the approach or the and again I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but the approach or the way things are working, it needs to be fine tuned or adjusted or something. It doesn't seem. It seems foggy or mismatched or something. I don't. Again, I'm not there. I can't see what you guys are doing or what it is that you're working on. But to me, that's the impression I'm getting.
Well, something that I do believe is happening to me is that I want things to come to fruition in my life, and I don't believe the timing is right now. So that would play into me spinning my wheels. But, sometimes you can be a total victim of the power of positive thinking. I told you I have a degree in metaphysics, and that's half of it is being positive.
Can you explain that to me?
Well, doing affirmations, rapid visualization, seeing things that you want, manifesting your own reality.
And you're saying
these are things I
get caught up in it?
Well, these are things I practice every day. But, I tell myself the last thing I meditated on really, really hard was finding a good woman in my life. And I meditated on it for 4 years before it actually started to really happen. And then I remember I started to see what she looked like. But it took 4 full years of praying and meditating as hard as I could I mean, and to the point, like a few months before, no, I don't know, maybe 6 months before I met her, I could actually see what she looked like. So I don't know. Sometimes I believe I'm the victim of my own power of positive thinking, because I try to stay positive always, and I try to tell myself that there's
and
that
no
I can
disrespect. In no disrespect when I say this, but that goes along with what I was saying. There needs to be some sort of it needs to be more practical, or more realistic. That's probably that's going back to me for a second. That's why when I say that I don't practice any type of love and light gimmicks or any type of that hokey pokey type stuff, it's because what people do when they do that is when they say, oh, why don't you surround yourself with this positive light and love? Once you surround yourself with love and light, I mean, everything will come. Okay, what about right now?
Yeah.
What? How can we deal with this right now? And I see a lot of I think we talked about that, or I don't know if we had a chance to talk about it, but that's the problem that I have. That's what I want to change. That I'm going to these events, and I'm getting involved in some of these little communities that they have, the metaphysical communities, metaphysical world, and watching people give readings and telling people they're not really giving them psychic readings. What they're doing is they're playing off of their psychological issues and telling them that once you start manifesting that idea, get that thought in your head or whatever, they're not really giving them the tools to work with right now. How does that change the issue? How does that stop them from worrying or getting to the bottom of their anxiety? I want to deal with the things that are happening right now. You can work, and it doesn't mean you can't work on, again, if that's what you want to do, surround yourself with that positive light and love. No one's saying you can't do that, but I want to start working on results on the issue and get results now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Here's an example. When the blue people at that conference, number one, I did a seance. They walked up to me. They talked to me more than anybody else out of all 150 people there. They chose me. To me, this story with over 25 witnesses should be all over the internet. It should be viral. It should be all over television. And it's not. And a number of people that were there and that were witnesses are not working with others to make this.
That's my point exactly. Is that people have come out with some outrageous crap. They're just blatant lies. Putting it out there and lying to people about things, and it puts people like you and I in a bad position that are telling the truth. You saw what you saw and you were witness to it. But then you have these people that are coming out and kind of blasting it all over, saying they found an alien and this and that. They're dredging up dumb pictures. So when people like you and I have actual stories to tell, no one's really listening to it.
Yeah, well, and there's reasons behind that. I can't exactly tell you what they are. You don't like the word block, so there's a better word for what's happening. But in my opinion, if that, I should have been on a number of television shows talking about this with other witnesses that were there, and it's not happening.
We talked a little bit about that at the mixer, and I think
we did.
That's what you're referencing about at the end of it when I told you to be careful.
You did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't sit on this story. I just can't. I can't. It's my life mission. And no matter if everybody tells me to stop, I can't. I can't stop. This happened to me. Happened to a number of people too. But it did happen to me. I can't run from it. Yes. Huh?
Do you think they'll be back next year's conference?
They've already.
Or this year's conference?
I doubt it seriously. But they've come back to visit me. That's for absolute sure. I've been taken by them multiple times. I know I was taken by them on February.
Was it the species or those individuals that you met?
It was the ones that I met.
Was it the blue species that took you? The ones you met? Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about what they did. How did they take you?
Well, to tell the story, everybody who's listened to our show has heard the Blue People story, and I've been on tons of radio shows talking about this.
Right. We're talking about your
Jimmy Church knew about it.
They did a follow-up. They did a follow-up episode with you.
They did.
At your home in Florida? Where was this? At your home in Florida?
Perhaps even a few times after. This all happened on August 29th of last year. But on February 27th, I went to a MUFON meeting, and Audrey Hewins, who put together the conference and was one of the key witnesses, as she was on Jimmy Church's Fade to Black show with me talking about it. And Jimmy Church knew about it months before we were even on the show, which I didn't realize. But
right.
I met her mother. I met her mother at this MUFON conference. And it became clear to me that, Audrey is an ET magnet, and so am I. But it all starts with her mother. Usually abductees, it happens in generations through families. Well, it happened to her mother first, years and years and years ago. So I meet her mother, and we talk about the Blue People, and I had a great conversation with her. And then that night, I know I was taken. I just absolutely know it. I know I was taken. I woke up and I had a dream about the Blue People. My front door was wide open. I never leave my front door wide open. And it was like 2 or 3 in the morning when I woke up. It kind of spooked me at first, and then I looked around the house. Everything seemed to be in order, and I went to bed, but I know something happened that night, and we were talking about this, Aaron.
I just wish E.T. would learn how to close the door when they leave. I mean, that's so. They do that. It's like, come on, guys. Don't freak us out too much. So but you've been doing this for years. You are a contact experiencer. That's part of who you are. I am as well. You're in a category that's, you're not a victim. You're not a, abductee. You're a contactee. You're an experiencer. And that's okay.
Yeah, and it's all positive.
When you came into the body. Yeah.
And it's all been positive.
So what I hear is that you're stressed because they're not talking about it on television. Well, I have a friend here, and he tells me how they had it at the Big Rock in California, 20,000 people, and they're all seeing ETs. And no, nobody's talking about it. They're not. So there's something to look at. What's going on that we are having mass sightings. We are having group sightings. And it's that giggle factor and the blame and shame. But you can sit there. I had Laura Eisenhower on Tuesday. I was interviewing her, and she's brilliant. So there's no victims in this. If you just relax and realize it's all unfolding in the right time, and then enjoy the process of writing your book and coming out and talking about it. I don't know, Chris. I don't know if that's what you're kind of conveying. That's what I'm getting, and I'm psychic in my own way. Is relax into enjoyment and the exhilaration and joy that you are having these experiences, and yes, most people aren't. But there are more and more of us that are. Go ahead.
I agree with you about the relax, but I don't think John's going to be able to do it. I think John is at a point, if I'm wrong, John, you're at a point where you it's about you're saying that it's not time yet, but I feel like you feel like there's that internal clock in you that's ticking away. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword there. You're saying that part of you says, well, maybe it's not time yet, but then you're feeling like time is of the essence. Like you have to get this. Things have to start changing for you.
Well, here's something else: is that I do entertainment in Orlando. I have to lift up my sound system, which is heavy. When I work a lot, I experience health problems. Bad back, hemorrhoids. The hemorrhoids are worse than anything you could ever experience in your life. You know, it's scary, you know. So if I work a lot and make a lot of money, it pays well. But, you know, my body, I'm getting old. I can't lift my sound. I'm physically strong enough to lift my sound system easily, but my body isn't able to take it like I used to be. So that's another pressure that I'm putting on myself, is that, you know, I can't do this forever. I'm going to really hurt myself. You know, I've messed up my back for 6 weeks in a row at one time. You know, and something's got to change, because I can't do what I'm doing forever, and I'm trying very hard to change everything.
I think that you have a strong desire to do something different, and you've got these stories going about the back and this and that. But if you look at it in a different way, I'm just inviting you. It's invitation. It's not a should. That, you know, we used to, in the old days, have a job and have it all of our lives, and we tended to die somewhere between 30 and 50, you know. So the world is different now. So just realize that you're going to go through a change from one career to another as you age, because we're productive much longer. You know, we're living between 70 and 120, I hope, is what we were told we get 120 years old. We're living in the times where that's a possibility. So it's just time to think about a different career and where you're going. And I think that Karen's helping you with your book and getting you out there on the circuit and talking about it more and getting on. I think that's what's up for all of us here on this show. And even moving past, and this is one of Karen's favorite topics that we talk about, is moving past the concept that we all have to work jobs to that we get our needs met, and we can do what I call right livelihood, or we could do what we really enjoy doing, like Chris, and actually get some kind of appreciation in form of money is what it used to be, but I think money's shifting to some kind of subsistence or your needs met, you know, doing what you enjoy doing. And that's what I'm inviting everybody to relax into, is that we are shifting. Karen, I'd like you to address this a little bit, because you're brilliant. I love how Karen addresses all this about where the planet might be going in terms of basic minimum needs economy. But I want to stay focused on the personal for a little bit longer here, Chris, because I love what you're doing. I think you're brilliant, and I'm psychic as well, and I feel and sense who you are, and I have some kind of understanding that I can't quite verbalize of what I'm getting from you and who you are, and I think it's just incredible, and I appreciate you. So,
thank you.
Anyway, back to John. And John, I get a sense of you that you're just a very sweet and sensitive person. What's your sign, John? When's your birthday?
I'm a Leo.
Oh,
my birth number.
Yeah.
My birth numbers are 7/30/69. Yeah, 7/30/69. I mean, if there wasn't numerology, that birthday
you were born
says it
in
all.
My favorite year. When I was a child,
I'm a moon baby.
We kept loving the year 1969. So you were born 7/30/69. Wow.
So get this. I was a month late. I was a month late. You know, how many people are a month late? I was supposed to be a Cancer, but I turned out a Leo. And it figures I was born right after we landed on the moon.
And I was looking at the moon with falling in love with my first husband. We literally met that night. We're looking at the moon and saying, I've got to go home because they're going to do that first step for humanity thing. And I ran home. We kissed. We had our first kiss, and I ran home. watched the moon landing, and then I talked to my sister, and I said to my sister, I just met my husband, and he was my future husband. And, you know, I was just 16, you know, so what do I know, right? But I was right on. That was my husband, and we were married for like 12 years. And so you were born at a very magical time, John.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was, and I can even remember being a year and a half and 2 years old. Most people cannot remember being that young, but I can remember being a baby. I can remember things my mom would say to me. I can remember being on an airplane and crying, and all the stewardesses came up to me and were trying to comfort me. I can remember vomiting on my pillow when I was 2 years old. It's amazing to me how I can remember being a baby. You know, like most people can't do that. But I had a good childhood growing up, and I've got some fond memories of growing up. Hello?
Hi. I disconnected myself accidentally. I pushed the button.
Oh, okay.
To continue your story, everybody's still there? Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't get bumped. I bumped myself today, but I called back into the show. Karen, you've been quiet. What would you like to add?
Well, I've just been fascinating hearing everything, and I come into the story with John as helping to be his editor with this Blue People story, because I don't think I think it's dormant, but I don't think it just stays dormant. If I were to make a guess, one thing that should be noted here is that, the ET came at an experiencers conference, which doesn't surprise me. Who else would you want to come out to is a bunch of experiencers who are somewhat sympathetic to your existence versus maybe a room full of ufologists who want to bag one, bag it, tag it, and dissect it. I think this is an appropriate place for that to happen, and that becomes the situation where you meet Chris. But I believe they'll come back. It's interesting to me there was the whole room full of not just experiencers but experiencer researchers. So it has been a puzzle. It has been puzzling to me why it is a dormant story, although Jimmy Church did a really good stab at it. But I'll be working with John further. So I think the new thing John needs is built in. Is this story and to continue? But I think it's part of the disclosure process in a personal way, and then in a group kind of way, and then I'm sure that the people may not have come out in media, but they've told a lot of people. Jimmy Church alluded to that he had heard it from several people. So I don't think we're done yet with that story. And it's very significant.
No.
Yeah. But Chris,
and there was over. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh no!
I was going to say there were
few people. Yeah. Go ahead.
There was over 20 MUFON investigators at the conference. None of them have done an investigation. I've talked to some of the biggest.
It wasn't a downed craft, right? It was beings. They're more interested in propulsion systems of downed craft than it seems sometimes to be.
Yeah, but
but
an investigator looks for witnesses. There's over 20.
Very credible.
I'll leave some people nameless. You all know who they are, but there's some world famous people that saw these blue beings that won't talk about it.
And it was very credible people. They're always looking for credibility too. So I really challenge the people that were involved.
That happened.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It hurt me because this deserves the attention that it deserves. It deserves worldwide attention. I mean, worldwide attention. Over 25 witnesses. I mean, come on. How come nobody would do an investigation?
I don't know.
I use the word blocked, and that's probably the wrong word. But
yeah. Do you think they might be doubting their own reality, like not even believing what they saw?
No. Everybody that has come forward and said that they are a witness totally believes in what they saw. We all can attest to the fact that they put us under some kind of alien anesthesia, because the majority of us experienced losing time, losing memory, trying to take pictures and forgetting to take our phone out of our pocket and take pictures of blue people talking to us. I mean, how do you do that? They did the Jedi mind
obvious that
all of us.
It's not time. It's not time. They don't want it really revealed. They were testing. They were testing what was going to happen. What was the reaction? Are people going to drop over dead? Are they going to freak out? No, you guys were all calm. You had conversations with them, but they weren't ready for you to take the pictures. So, if I were you, I would just relax. I'd go, okay, I would talk about it. But it's kind of like, the ball's in their court. Yeah. You had it, you're talking about it, and now it's their move. It's a chess game. It's their move right now. You've done it. You've spent since August talking about it to thousands and thousands of people.
I have.
In February, you said that they contacted you. In February, for 2 nights in a row, I had a very powerful, I call them a download, but it's contact. And they were showing me I'm always wondering, how can you do disclosure where people get it? And they keep showing me different variations on the theme. And some of it is mass, ships over all the cities at the same time. And in one download, they activated all the pyramids around the world, above and below ground that are underneath Earth, and they just activated them simultaneously while they took down the fossil fuel grid. And they said, see, you don't need to run on energy that kills the planet. Here's a clean system. But what they showed me in February, which was that magical time that you had as well, is that they can wake us up simultaneously. We're all in this dream, this illusion about a reality that this is how it is, and that we're part of this time game, and we're part of this matrix, but there's a veil of forgetfulness that we came through when we decided to incarnate into these avatars and pretend that we're humans, and that can wake up. And so in this vision, they woke everybody up simultaneously, and they were saying, I remember you. We had a lifetime in Rome and on Zeta Reticuli and on this and that, and everybody remembered everybody at the same time. And then that was another form of disclosure. So, and this was not just a dream. You know that, John. You have them as well. They're more than reality and less than a dream. And more than a dream and less than reality. So you're going, oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for that. What do I do with it? I think you're at the same point I get. Like, okay, thank you for that. What do we do with it? Well, it's the game of life, which is patience. You have to have patience, and that's my big lesson. How can I possibly have patience around all this when I want it to happen yesterday? When I'm 62 years old and I have a husband that's 75 and 3/4, he'll be 76 in July. I was born into a reality where we're supposed to have an expiration date. I was like, no, I want to do this while I'm alive and I'm young and I'm viable and I can, healthy and I can get out of bed and, I don't have all these aches and pains and want to die. It's like, I need this. I need to happen now even more than you do, John, because you're a lot younger than I am. But yeah, it's so frustrating. Let's, Chris, let's go back to you. Since you're psychic, are you able to see what's going to happen on a global scale? And I know there's a lot of doom, gloom, bad stuff. Let's see what time it's 3 o'clock. But we're an hour into the show. I'd like to focus just a little bit on the bad, if that's what you're seeing. But I'd like to end this show in the next approximately an hour on a high note, on a good note. With what's good is going to happen in this planet, okay? So where do you want to go with this, Chris?
Okay. As far as good, it we have nothing more. How can I put it? the good thing that's going to start happening, and it's going to start happening more towards 2018 is going to be a big year for the world. But it's starting now. People not backing down anymore. People are going to want to start taking control. People are going to start wanting to. I know people talk about this enlightenment coming, and things that are the shift going. But I really think people are going to start to wake up and really wanting to take control of their own lives, which again could be a double-edged sword, because those that don't want them to do it will try everything that they can to keep them suppressed. But I don't think that's gonna. I think that the way everything's going, the way people are going, the way that people are evolving naturally. I mean, it's going to cause so much tension that out of destruction. Once everything is taken away and it falls down and crumbles into nothing, you're able to rebuild. Once that happens, I don't want to go too far into it or give too much, put that out there too much. But once that happens, the rebuilding will be will be structured a lot better than it was before. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of. I don't like to predict worldly events, but there's going to be some chaos that's going to cause that to happen. I think people know where I'm going with this. On both coasts, both the East and West Coast, specifically I'm talking within our own country. I'm not talking. I don't want to get onto the worldly and what's happening in other countries. I'm talking about us in our country now. Things that are going to start changing. Things that are going to take place that are going to backfire. And instead of going the direction that these people wanted to go in, it's going to go the other direction because it's time for that change. And that's going to cause a lot of issues too. A lot of people reclaiming their rights, reclaiming what is owed to them and what is true to them. As I don't want to sound hokey, but as the American people. A lot of stuff, to sum it all up, a lot of things that they're trying to do. One major thing will backfire in their face, in the favor of the people.
And can you say more about that?
I'm choosing my words wisely.
You're like walking on glass with a guillotine over your head, but go for it. I know you can navigate these waters with sharks and everything, so you're good. You're very good.
You wouldn't believe the amount of crap I get from people emailing me saying, what do you mean? Or people trying to, I've had what do they call trolls email me and send me all kinds of weird things. Oh yeah. So I kind of, and I don't when I do podcasts, I don't like to talk about worldly events or political type things, but this is something that concerns me, or that I want to see happen. I want to see that change happen. I want things to come to light. I want them to be exposed for the crap that they're trying to pull. It's time. It's time. And people are under this illusion that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing we can do. Yeah, you can. And when it starts affecting people, when this happens, it starts affecting people's rights and the way that they think and the things that they have, it's namely their possessions. They're going to start to get mad. And then we'll start to see. When it starts affecting certain people. I know I'm being real vague on it. I just don't like to talk about things like this. 2018. 2 more years.
So it's not 2017, it's 2018. For a while everybody's saying 2017, but now you're saying 2018. What is there something that is going to shift it that you can talk about, or?
there's going to be too many people with their hands in the pot, and I'm talking about, and this is, I'm going to leave it at this, with the powers that be, too many hands in the pot, too many people wanting to stick their hands in there, wanting to make these things, and they're going to do something that's going to be that's going to be rushed. And gosh, I need to shut up, but. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Okay, so what would you like to talk about?
But yeah, like you said, like what you were asking, or what you wanted to leave the remainder of the show with, you know, it's going to be a thing that's going to change a lot of people's minds. It's going to be something that the people need. There needs to be that shift, that destruction to take place in order for us to rebuild.
So you think there'll be destruction, like the Phoenix Rising? We'll have destruction, and then there'll be a restructuring. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I've seen it.
One of the things that I saw was 24 different possible multiverses, future histories, and they varied in their level of destruction. And when I was shown the vision of these 24 possibilities, I was made aware that I am the chooser. And that's kind of like, you know, what you see, what you believe, you conceive and achieve, and that whole concept, you know, the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. So you know, from my perspective, as being a psychic intuitive person, is that this is not written in stone, that we are the chooser, that we can choose which timeline or reality we like to experience. That for some it's easier than others. And so whenever people go into, I call it apocalypso, I caution people to stop going there, because in a way, you know, let's talk about the Cabal and the Illuminati, they're programming us every moment of every day to go into apocalypso. And when you step back and you go, who wants us to die this way? I mean, we're raised with as an American, we're raised with the Bible and all those concepts. We're raised with religion and all those concepts. And, you know, this life is hardly worth living, that your reward is going to be when you die, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, well, what about just being in the now, appreciating the now, and creating the best reality for everybody in this moment? And so, you know, some people think it's airy-fairy, and even earlier in this conversation, it's kind of like, John, you're, you know, a little bit of that type of caution. But I always go the other way. When you're going down apocalypso road, it's like, beware, because that is what is the major programming. When I went to hypnosis class in February for a week, and one of the things that we talked about is how everywhere you go, there's a continual negative programming, including our own self-talk. We're always telling ourselves, I can't do this, and we're always shitting all over ourselves. Robert Heinlein said, don't shit all over yourself. And yet we go through life shitting all over ourselves. And so what we learned in hypnosis class is stop when you encounter the should and the absolute, and it's going to happen this way, and it should happen this way, and just really look at it and step back, go into the observer, into the witness, and look at, like, well, okay, that's victim. Do I need to really go there? And I think that's what the awakening is stop, don't go there, step back, in your own mind, adjust your perspective and your thinking. Say the affirmation, what you desire to happen rather than what you think should happen, and then become the driver of the car of life. That's just, I mean, I'll pass the ball to somebody else, but somebody else take over. I'm done talking.
That's what people need to do is need to start waking up and start taking control of their own life, get in the driver's seat of their own car, and start and realize that they in order for their lives to be better, they have to be able to make that change. This goes back to when I was talking. I think we're running along the same lines here. When I was talking earlier in the show about going to these events and seeing people, you know, like you were talking about, you know, doing the affirmations and do, that's fine. That's fine that you want to do that. but that you need to solve the problem. Now, this person doesn't, I think what people need to stop doing is coddling each other. They need to stop coddling each other and start kicking each other's asses and start getting them to do what they need to do in order to achieve that success or attain that dream. Because if you're giving people false hope and telling them, again, I've witnessed this where people are, where they're patting each other on the back and saying, it's going to be okay, you're a lovely soul, everything will work out. Well, what you're telling that person is don't do anything. That since you're such a lovely soul, it's gonna happen to you no matter what. And you leave that person with that false sense. That person what they need to do is need to start taking control, need to start doing what they need to do to get to where they need to be.
Well, that's what I was addressing is, I understand what you're saying, is that John apparently has some angst over some things. And those things are the motivators to do something. Don't just sit there, do something.
Right.
When you're in those situations, it's better to do something than they're neurotic and twisting your fingers and your hands, right? Just wringing your hands and, what can I do? What can I do? Well, do something. Even if it's wrong, you get the feedback. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think John is doing something, right? I just think that what the issue with him is that it's the other team that's not doing their part. John's doing what he's doing on his end to do it, to get the word out, to get the message. But what his problem is that he has to rely on other people in order to move another step.
Yes, ding, 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 ding.
And that's the most frustrating thing too. And that's where I'm at. I feel your pain on that. Because I can sit here and I can explain to myself, I can go to 20,000 different podcasts, different radio shows, different TV shows, and claim to be an authentic, true psychic, and preach it, this and that. Instead of doing that, let me show you. Like coming on the air and giving you guys readings right off the bat. I wasn't prepared to do it, but it was showtime. You guys shone the light on me. I needed to do my part, and I did my part. I think you did great. I think that's what John is waiting for too. Is waiting for somebody to say, "You're on." Let me show you what I can do rather than keep talking about it. I'm tired of people ask me all the time. Well, what sets you apart? What makes you different from this person on TV versus all the John Edwards, James Van Prague, all the ones that Sylvia Brown, all the ones that have been out there? What sets you apart? Well, let me show you. Instead of talking about it, let me show you what I can do. That's the point where I'm at now. Is let me show you what I can do. Let me show you what actually sets me apart. I'm not no disrespect to the ones that were there before me, none at all. But we're all different abilities, different ways to go about doing things. Let me show you how I do mine. I think that's what John is waiting for too.
There's a saying, I see far because I stand upon the giants who came before me, upon the shoulders of the giants who came before us. So if we honor our ancestors and those who have come before and paved the way, we accomplish much because we're so short-lived, but we do come in with a whole other understanding that the previous generation, they laid the foundation for us, so we come in, it's like, okay, they took us further down the road. They helped us progress, and that's...
And I give a lot of respect
and the brevity of life. It makes us accelerate what we're going to do because we only have this short dance to do what we have to do.
I give a lot of respect to, again, those that came before me, John Edwards, all of them, because during that time that they came out, the world was not the way it is now. A lot more people are more open to what we do. For them it was harder. I mean, if it's hard for us now, if it's hard for me to come out now, I can just imagine what it was like for them. But they achieved it. They got there. Mm-hmm. And it's all about opening up the world's eyes, getting them to look at things a little bit differently. I always say, the idiot will be the idiot because nobody's going to tell him that he's the idiot. They'll just keep passing him by. That person's never going to know. That person's never going to know what they're doing wrong because either nobody has the time to tell that person or nobody gives a shit. And if I'm that person to walk by that, quote unquote, that idiot and say, hey, you know why you're getting passed up? It's because this, this, and that. Well, you've just changed that person's mind. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing wrong. They didn't know that there was an issue because nobody took the time.
Right. Well, the word idiot, sometimes the idiots of the world are the cultural creatives and the progressives, and they're really not idiots after all. They're the geniuses. So I caution myself in putting labels on people. Just because we don't quite understand them doesn't mean probably the world isn't quite ready for them. So.
Yeah, which is my point exactly. Is that the world's not ready for them. So what they look at as being kooky or weird or the person just being stupid, it's just nobody's taking the time to actually talk to them. Mm-hmm. They don't. Nobody's doing that. And that person. And I'm not saying that I'm going to save the world. I'll try my best. But I want to take the time to open people, to enlighten them, even the ones that are again, using that word idiot is such a strong word, but even, going to that person that doesn't get why people are passing them by and saying this is why. I've done that. I've talked to people that have issues. I was in the insurance industry for almost 20 years. Talking to people, making contacts with people, doing the 9-to-5 thing, and people having a difficult time at work because, the work environment, it's just like high school. People, you run across them, they're like, why don't they, what's wrong with me? Well, I'll tell you why. And sometimes people are, looking, and they're like, Jesus, that was kind of harsh. Well, you asked me, and I'm telling you, now fix it. Or else don't, not to sound harsh, or else don't bitch about it. Yeah. You're wanting people, that person will appreciate it later on down the road. Thank you for pointing this out to me. I had no idea. They're so set in their ways. People are so tunnel vision nowadays that they just get set in one direction and they don't bother to look right or left. It's always straight ahead.
Right. Okay, we've got about a half hour left in the show. John, I know you had a list of things you wanted to cover. Do you want to take over for a little while, direct this dialogue?
I do, but I know Karen has probably got some good questions too. So
okay,
Karen.
Hey, Karen. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I thought of one I got really curious about, and that was you were talking about your guides, and I have guides, and I'm a lot of people who are really open to sensitivity and reach out, they'll find a guide. I was just curious about kind of who is that to you? Is it ancestors, interdimensionals, ET, if you want to share?
Yeah, I get that. That's a hard question because I never started using the word guides until I started until I started coming out, and doing this publicly. I've never used that word guides. It's just I don't see them. I don't hear them. It's just information that's just given to me. Or it's so I know you probably get this all the time. I'm used to it. I don't know any other way. I don't hear voice. I don't hear anybody telling me these things. When I come across a person, I do a reading, hear their voice, images are automatically poured into my head. Words are put in there. It's not a voice. It's just through my mind's eye.
Yeah, I worked with a group of people trying to parse out all the different ways we get information, and we called it the knowing or gnosis, if you just know it. And I was early tapped to be checked for the ability to do remote viewing when I was a child, and I couldn't see past my nose. I was legally blind. So they couldn't understand how I knew stuff, but I didn't see it like the remote viewing protocols they were talking about. So it's the same kind of thing. It's just, And for a long time, one way I compared it is that show Pop-Up Videos years ago on MTV. It just pops in your brain. It's just there it is.
That's a good one.
And it's
one.
sometimes clairaudient because they do have some guides that telepathically interconnect with me, but that innate reading a situation, it's just, I call it, I sit with it. I just sort of sit with the energy of it, and then it's there. Yeah, so I understand.
When I do my medium readings, that's a little different because I can somewhat hear that person's voice. I can sometimes, not all the time. I could hear a little bit of a voice if they had an accent, or if they couldn't, if their primary language. I know Jay. When I first met Jay, his grandmother came to me. Jay's Vietnamese, and I think to me there was some sort of language barrier there that I picked up on, and he was like, "Oh yeah." So but the majority of the time when I do medium readings, it's just vision. It's like a Polaroid snapshot of what's in front of me, what they look like, what they want me to see. I did a house reading. This woman's house was surrounded by all different types of energy, and when I went into her bedroom, in my mind's eye, it was a snapshot of what was in there, and there was like a bunch of different spirits, if you will, and then a primary one, which was turned out to be her great grandmother. And I looked at her every time that they snapped that picture. It was of the grandmother, and she didn't look all there. She looked shy, or there was something wrong with her. I picked up that she had like a cognitive impairment. I asked the granddaughter, who this woman was. Turned out it was the great grandmother. And she said, yeah, she suffered from Alzheimer's, and that she was embarrassed that she was going through that. She wasn't comfortable going, but she knew there was something wrong with her. She shied away from people. She didn't want to talk to anybody. She kind of kept to herself. So she was showing me who she was.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's gotten more different channels, I guess you'd say, as I've developed. So I didn't used to see visuals much at all, but over time, and I started doing things to help my vision, my ability to see normally day to day by doing art. And then I started getting the pictures and stuff too, which I really didn't do too much before. But a lot of it was that knowing thing. But yeah, and I have to back you up on a Alzheimer's ghost story. My daughter she's disabled, and she's within a room, and she's very psychic. And the former occupant who had Alzheimer's visited her, and didn't know she died. She was kind of confused about her own death. And so my daughter said, well, you've moved on, go to the light, this is my room now, that sort of thing. But, yeah, it was, if she gave him some time, she'd probably figure out she doesn't have Alzheimer's anymore. But, yeah, I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You are welcome. Is John still there?
Yeah,
John,
I'm
back
here.
to you.
I'm here. Yeah, I just hadn't heard Karen talk in a little while, so I thought I would defer to her before I went into some things I wanted to talk about. So I talked to Chris on the phone today, and I went on Twitter, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I saw pictures of him in Florida. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He came to Florida. Well, only until we talked today did I realize that he was probably a half an hour from my house out at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I'm like, oh man, I wish I knew. And he's like, well, I'm coming back in a couple weeks. So you want to talk about what y'all were doing out at Disney and some projects that you have in the Disney area?
Yeah, I can't talk too much about it, but I can let you know that we are doing I'm working on some projects out that way, some documentary type projects in regards to spirituality, enlightenment, that sort of thing. So I am going to be busy probably for the next few weeks on doing this sort of things. I'm also working on my own thing, doing my readings, traveling on, doing different types of events and things like that. But yeah, it's a lot. It's hopefully I'll be able to talk about it a little later when I can get some more information, put more things together. Again, it's at the early stages, but yeah, we are working on things like I am working out there on this project. So that's be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, when are you coming back into town? When I say in town, I mean to Orlando, Florida.
I'm not sure yet. I have another trip I'm taking this weekend, and then I'll know more by the end of next week.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, I was reaching out to Chris saying, hey, we got to get together when you're here, if your schedule even allows for it. So it's possible I'll be driving out towards the Disney area to, go hang out with Chris if he has some time in between his projects out there. So I hope that happens. I was also telling him that my house is totally haunted and that it's built on an old Indian reservation. And I've had ghost hunters come out to my house, and I've had past roommates see some incredible things. People close to me, certain very close friends, have just straight up seen ghosts in my house. A girl used to live with me with her 2 daughters, and we all saw ghosts all the time. And I don't know if he has time, but I invited Chris to come by the house. I'm sure he could see and find things that I can't see quite as readily as he can. Hopefully that happens.
Brought that up. Yeah, because I was going to mention that. I was going to say, well, I need to get out to your house and see what's going on in there.
My house is on a number of ley lines and creating a vortex. It's not uncommon for souls that are earthbounders to come to me and ask me to help them to cross over to the other side. And I can do that to some extent with the help of some archangels, which in effect are really archaliens that I work with. But yeah, there's a ton of anomalous activity that happens in my house. Also, you said you went to Chicago. Was that a business trip, or were you going on pleasure?
No, going on pleasure. Yeah, visiting out some business friends out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool.
Yeah. So
John, okay, you go, Chris, and then I want to ask John something. Go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead. I'm good. Go ahead.
So, John, you said that discarded people that are dead, and they want you to help them cross over. I have the same thing that happens to me. I used to think it was connected with the house that I was born and raised in, which is it's an interdimensional portal. It's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But that seems to be what happens to me. I get people that are out of body. They see me seeing them, and it's not my physical eyes, but my mind's eye, and they come over and they want help a lot of times. So recently I got contacted by David Bowie, and years ago Michael Jackson, but a lot of times just people that are in the community where I live and my friends around the planet. Like I'll hear about so-and-so died, and I go, oh, honey, I'm going to get a visit tonight. Usually they wait till I'm asleep, and then sometimes it's not the first day, but it's souls when they pass, if they're confused, they usually stick around for, 2 or 3 days, and some stick around until there's some kind of ritual done, like a funeral or some kind of celebration of their lives, and then they move on. How does it work for you? When you get contact, how does it happen, and what does it look like?
Well, first, usually I'm caught off guard by it. Like it's very common for me to sit on my couch, and I have TV on, but I'm not really watching it. I think it's almost like just some kind of meditative background music or some kind of ambient sound in the background to kind of put me in a lucid state where I can see from one dimension to another. And then they just come to me, and I can feel it also. I can almost feel them enter my body. And then basically it's funny because they come to me knowing that they can do it themselves, but they need a little help. And I basically just I open up a conduit to the light, and I help them go towards it. And all of a sudden I leave my body, and I basically take their hand and go with them to the light and send them to the light. And you know who did that to me recently was Dr. Edgar Mitchell. And ironically, on the first day of the Alien Snowfest, he died. And then that was February 5th. And then I came back on February 8th. And so actually February 9th at 2:48 a.m. in the morning, I should have been asleep. I was dead tired from all the traveling and everything. But I couldn't sleep, so I just stayed up late. And he came to me at 2:48 in the morning and basically told me that he was an earthbounder. He was really like trapped in between dimensions, and that he wasn't ready to go to the other side yet, and that he died before he was supposed to die because he was needed on the other side to help usher in disclosure the right way through the right people at the right time. And I told this to Karen, and Karen's like, oh my God, John, you know how many people have told me the exact same thing? So Karen, you want to finish that story?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I won't say which astronaut, but I work with the Dr. Ken Johnston with revealing things related to the Apollo era. And, I've been learning so much about it, and I've been going through original NASA photos of these astronauts. And if people say we didn't go, well, wow, we sure did a lot to try because of all the development of the technology and the engineers and just all the pre-missions going up to it. But anyway, one astronaut contacted me because of this the story of our going to space. I mean, every single mission, they understood it could be a suicide mission because of the, newness of the technology and risk. And, I had a couple, I forgot off the top of my head who it was that also told me that they had felt like Edgar Mitchell was, well, first of all, we worked with the Dr. Edgar Mitchell, both you and me, John, worked with the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, so we knew his commitment to making sure that disclosure happened properly, but he's not the only one. I got the feeling there were other astronauts as well whose legacy is right now, I mean, they would rather tell us we didn't go or send out an op that we didn't go. They would rather say that the Earth is flat. Some people say that. And discredit NASA that way, which is, I don't agree with everything NASA does, but there was some things that they actually did do. And I did believe that they went to the moon because they went there and they found stuff there that they weren't allowed to talk about for national security reasons, and they took oaths, and some of them were threatened as well. So we're dealing with a thing where this is unfinished business, that era. So, yeah, I think spirits come back. But sometimes they got a really good reason that there's unfinished business. Absolutely. That's pretty classic, right? Ghosts with unfinished business. But, right. And I feel like we're pretty close to disclosure. We're already in what I believe it was John Alexander said is soft disclosure, which is a lot of information coming out about space and coming out about the Apollo era and secret space program and a lot of different things. But our intuition should be our guide. I truly believe that, because one of the things about the whole science thing and Apollo thing and just science in general is it's so left-brain. We have to prove everything. And it really is our human experience and our intuition of what we feel, that guides us to look into certain things and look at them a certain way, that we should trust our intuition a lot more and open our minds a lot more, because this is this change that's going to happen is a worldwide change. And I was giving that some thought when you were talking earlier, Chris, about kind of what happens next, right? And I've gotten quite a bit of downloaded information of that, in especially in automatic writing sessions that I've done. And they're talking about it as the transition. And a lot of people think of real cataclysmic, huge, giant, written large in the sky kinds of events. But the subtle thing going on is that concept of taking charge of your own destiny, of not just passively sitting around for something to happen, because that's what we've been trained to do up until now. We've been entrained. Religion has said, oh, the next thing to happen is the apocalypse, as Janet was saying. And the actual change is we're going to desire and have the opportunity like never before, because I think the systems are going to crash because they're too big, they're top-heavy. And that we personally will have the opportunity like never before to make our own destiny. But it's like we got to be grown-up. You know, we can't be just live in this learned helplessness of waiting for something to happen that we're trained to do. The media makes us very passive. But rather to be more proactive in our lives and take, you know, like you said, practical steps. What's the next thing I can do toward my vision for myself? And I think when we do that, it's like the thing you want starts to rush toward you. And the thing of the transition that I see the most is the idea that instead of it being a top-down pyramidic structure, that how humans do things, it's going to be an individualistic, cooperative structure. But that individualistic part, people go, oh, we need to have more unity and less individualism. I disagree. I think we've never had individualism. We've had religion and politics and society try to make us all fit the same mold. We really haven't had true individualism in the sense of being responsible for yourself to the level that you're able to. We've deferred a lot of our personal power up to this point. We were taught to do that. That's a big change, I think.
Yeah, we're taught to more or less follow a crowd, to be part of some sort of society or organization, and to be a part of a group, not individual, not like you just said, like not individual thinking. Again, we didn't come in with these people. We sure as hell aren't going out with them either. You have to start doing things for yourself, as a person, as an individual, and stop. That's what we're led to believe we need to have our hands held up until a certain point. But at what point do people let go?
Yeah, that doesn't mean we can't cooperate. I mean, that doesn't mean we can't cooperate and unite for good causes. To give you an example from the space program, we first had governments to collect billions of dollars to put people in space. Now we're trying to have individuals like Elon Musk or Richard Branson put people in space. But why couldn't lofty, big, giant goals be all of us like crowdsourcing it, that we vote for it with our own personal resources or not? We get the choice. Right now we're not even given the choice. And I think the breakdown, the systems we built are going to break down because I think they already are, because people don't see themselves being taken care of or having a future in it. So we are withdrawing the energy we gave those systems, and that's why they're falling apart. Now, something falling apart isn't a bad thing. I come from rural Oregon, and you tear the old barn down so you can build a new barn. So sometimes the collapse is not negative. It means that you're clearing the space for the new thing. But people use that word collapse and they think, terrible apocalyptic things. But I'm with Janet. Right. We don't need to. I heard the word when she said apocalypso. I heard the word calypso. It's a dance, right? We don't have to go dance the calypso, apocalypso, with these ones that are calling the tunes. We don't have to do that. We can have a different vision.
I agree.
Way to go.
Yep.
Just to give everybody a heads up, we got about 15 minutes left, and I want to see if our commercials uploaded to test them out. Let's see, did it work? Yeah. So we're gonna end about 4 minutes early so we can test out our new commercials that Karen created for us. Thank you, Karen, very much. So let's see. So that means we have about 12 minutes left. So let's start to wrap up our discussion. So who wants to kind of start wrapping it up first?
Let's hear from you, John. Is there anything that you'd like to bring up or in regards to what I was saying to you?
I've had, ample opportunity to think about what you were saying about me specifically earlier, and I think I figured it out. You know how sometimes when you give somebody a reading and it's not necessarily what they want to hear, denial creeps in, and then your brain starts generating excuses, or your self-schema in your brain is a mechanism in your brain that makes you want to be positive about yourself even when you don't have any reasons to be. And sometimes I can be victim of an overactive self-schema. My mind's going, well, this, well, that, well, and then sometimes you just got to take a step back and analyze everything all over again. But yeah, I figured some things out that I don't want to talk about, but I would have to acknowledge you were pretty much right on with most of what you said, So anyway, that's humbling. But I don't know that to be straight and honest with you, I don't know that I'm going to really change my behavior too much. I don't see me relaxing. I don't see me, I'm still going to just try as hard as I can, even if it seems like a method in futility. Because one thing I am supremely confident in is me, and that
I don't want you to think that I meant to calm
down.
No, not at all.
I didn't take it that way. No, it's the whole changing my approach thing that I had to, I had to wrestle within my own mind about what that was, or not what it was, how many different whats that it is. So anyway, it was helpful.
It'd be nice to meet up with you again, like the next time I'm out there, to meet up and have this face-to-face. So I think we did a lot. Not that we did bad over the phone, but I think you and I, we need to see. We're people that need to see each other. We need to look at each other when we talk. And I think us talking was a lot. I mean, to be able to see each other and see each other's expression, because you're a visual person too. You like to look. So again, when I'm out there, I'll give you a call. We'll hook up and we'll take it from there. What do you think?
I look forward to it, and hopefully you have time to escape. If I need to, I can come pick you up out there out of the Disney complex and bring you over to my house and just sit around and watch ghosts. It's actually kind of cool. I got a couple.
Yeah.
I got a couple friends that are able. It's a total trip. Just sit in my house and watch ghosts. Pretty cool.
I remember our conversation at Snowfest when you said you just go outside and just look up at the sky and the stars and stuff because you have the luxury of doing that. I thought about that. That still sticks with me because I do that now. I go outside and I just look upside just to see what I can see. It'd be interesting, like I said, yeah. It'd be interesting just to kick back and see what we get off of each other, and give you more of a more personalized reading in person, if that makes sense.
It does, because when you gave me one before, when we were at Alien Snowfest, all I could think about was the blue people. That's all I really talked to you about, and that's really the reading that you were giving me based on that. So I was talking earlier tonight about how they revisited me on February 27th after I met Audrey Hewen's mom. Audrey's the one who put together Experiencer Speak conferences in Portland, Maine every summer. And that night, I know I was taken. But prior to that, this was a trip. Prior to that, I'm witnessing drones and low-flying unmarked Cessnas that are white. And I know what they are. They're surveillance vehicles is what they are. And they were very, very, very low. Like within a few 100 feet over my house. And I posed the question a few shows ago, how did they know that I was going to be abducted or that some kind of UFO activity was going to happen in and around my house? How did they know before I knew? And Karen said that they were able to access the information through a time loop that already pre-existed, and they were able to literally see into the future and know that that was going to happen to me. So they were there waiting for this to happen to me, and they had all the surveillance vehicles in place, waiting for that craft to show up. So anyway, I thought that was incredibly interesting. Remember that whole thing, Karen?
Yes, I do. It's something I've learned that Janet and I know about Andrew Basiago and his story. But with him and quite a few other people, there's a time, a technology and time, and they're watching what I call assets under management, certain people, certain groups of people, because, well, frankly, we're kind of interesting. We're doing interesting things, and we're poking around in interesting areas of research. And they have access to alternate timeline views, such as Janet was talking about, those 24 different timeline views, and forward and backward in time. That technology has been around for a while, as Andrew Basiago says, for a couple of decades at least. And so that's what that sounded like. Is otherwise, why would they know ahead of time that was going to happen? Like I said before, you did, just because they somehow had a tip off somewhere or another. So, and there is a liaison between certain parts of the government and AT, so there's that factor too, is that they might have even been told. So this is a lot weirder than people realize when a lot of people are sitting with they've now decided if they're crazy, then fine, I'm crazy, but they're now thinking of their life experiences, and that's why we talk about these experiences, because when I, say something, I know there's people hearing what I'm saying, and they're going, oh, my gosh, that sounds like, what happened to me, or any of us when we're saying that. That sounds like what happened to me. And this is why we're having these Friday shows, why we're talking about our experiences ourselves and to other experiences, because we're all waking each other up. We're all applying to each other and giving each other the credibility that we aren't going to get from regular society or our family or our communities, but we are getting it from each other, and this is such an important process, I think. So, yeah, I have to tell you about these commercials coming up at the end. This is a new thing for what we're doing in Aquarian Radio, and it's not really meant to just sell you something, but to give you guys resources. I've been in the mixing all week, and I hope you enjoy them. So that's all I'm going to say for the rest of the show, and I hope you enjoy what we're trying to do.
Excellent. Chris, you have the final word here, and then we're going to go to the commercial and the end of the show. Take it away.
Okay, well, I just really don't have much to say other than I've enjoyed my time on the air with you guys, and I really appreciate the opportunity and for allowing me to come on the show and speak my piece and give you guys readings, get to know you.
Well, I hope you will come back sometime in the future. I'd love to hear more about your readings, and I'm so curious about what you're going to say to Karen. And if you have anything else you're going to say to me, feel free to contact me too. And I wish I was a fly on the wall.
What?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
What's your website for people to know? Yeah.
What did you say?
Your website.
Your website.
Oh, my website is. Yeah, my website is chrismedina.guide. You can follow me on Twitter at PsychicChrisM and on Facebook at chrismedina.guide.
So it's not .guide.com, it's chrismedina.guide. I have
Yeah, there is no .com. Yeah, it's just .guide.
Oh, I've got to correct that. Oh, my goodness. So,
yeah,
excellent.
I made the same mistake.
There's a new category .guide, and you don't need the .com after that. I was looking at it going, well, that's not right. All right, so I will correct it right now on the website, and my apologies for having it wrong. But it's chrismedina.guide, and I've got to click on that site and see what it's about. But I want to thank everybody who's been on our panel today, John and Karen and Chris, and I think it was a great show. It was a really good show. And I'm going to go ahead and are you ready? We're going to test out this new commercial short spot, which is between 3 and 4 minutes. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow I will be on Revolution Radio and Cosmos Connection. Sunday, Revolution Radio on Sacred Matrix. John, you're going to be on a show this weekend?
Me?
John, you still with us? What show are you going to be on?
I'm on Dave Cruz and Les Johnson's Beyond the Strange on Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And ought to be a really good show.
Okay, nice. Great. Well, everybody keep up the good work, and let's stay in touch, and much love and blessings, and aloha, everybody. And take care.
Aloha.
Be well. Aloha.
Bye.
Join the KCOR Digital Radio Network Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific as we connect the dots and unravel the cosmic mysteries with Divine Paradigm. Divine Paradigm, hosted by Dr. Sasha Lessin and Janet Kira Lessin. Interview those in the know, whether it be researchers, whistleblowers, contactees, or military mind control programs.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Have you ever wanted to learn about ancient texts, suppressed history, spiritual ascendance, as well as past, future, and simultaneous life existences?
This is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make.
Then you need to tune into Divine Paradigm.
Divine Paradigm.
Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
I'm doing it. I can do it. I'm doing it.
Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Coming March 1st, 2016.
Every region of the world and most countries can go back in their history and trace their origins, traditions, and religions to a creator god or an angel from the sky, the stars, heaven, or even underground from the underworld. This is the common story of extraterrestrials seeding our planet. My name is Reverend John M. Polk. I am an international metaphysical minister, a Reiki master teacher, and a medium. My book is Yahweh, the Biblical God is an Alien. The premise of my book is that there is a real God and that Yahweh is a creator God alien who is indicating he is ready to reveal his alien origins to humanity at this time. You can find my book at johnpolkmedia.com. That's JOHNPOLK media.com. johnpolkmedia.com.
My name is Karen Christine Patrick, and I want to tell you about the Cleanse for Life solution from Isagenix. The need to cleanse is vital in today's dangerously toxic world. Our demanding lifestyles, environmental toxins, poor nutrition, and daily stresses overload our body's own detoxification defenses. Unlike a colon cleanse or laxative product, Cleanse for Life uses a synergistic blend of gentle cleansing herbs and other natural compounds to ensure the energizing nutrients flood into the body as the toxins are cleansed out. My favorite Isagenix product is the Cleanse for Life solution. I drink it as a hot beverage in the morning every day. You can find out more at my website, kcpatrick.isagenix.com. That's K, C as in cat, patrick.isagenix.com. kcpatrick.isagenix.com. Cleanse for Life.
Who are we to say? With all the planets and all the galaxies and all the solar systems, we're the only intelligent life form? We can't. An out-of-this-world experience here on Earth. Your eyes will be open to an exciting lineup of speakers, exhibitors, and copious aha moments. Experiencers, UFOs, extraterrestrials. Alien Cosmic Expo, June 24th to 26th at the Best Western Plus Brant Park Inn. Tickets at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.